Hi everyone. Mahashivaratri is on March 8th, and this is a part 2, a follow-up, let's say, of the first video that I shared that has to do with Mahashivaratri and how we can see and explore the play of consciousness at the level of elements. And the mantra, Aum.Nama Shivaya, which really helps us kind of peek into the play of elements that which we are at the manifest level. In this video, we'll jump in a little bit in a deeper context. Many a times when we explore this and we look at it, be very aware that how things get defined for us. When we look at elements, many times there is a sense that as if there is matter existing apart from the very consciousness that is and we are. That is not the case. But in one context, it can be experienced as such, it can be explored as such. So we'll take a slightly, what one may say, a more expansive or a deeper context in this video. At the level of chakras, it's again at the level of the manifest, moving consciousness, right? So at the level of mind, of course, everything that appears. That which these consciousness dances as gunas, right? That's why this monthly Falguna, right? The Falguni. These gunas is the unnameable pure consciousness appearing. It has to have qualities, right? So those qualities we name also another perspective, like how we explore it as the elements. The same way the elements dance, nothing has to do with the gunas, which are 3: Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. And every expression, every isness has a unique ratio of these gunas, of Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. And the way that it is dancing, and this is constantly ever changing. Mind is constant change. That is why when we are, unconscious and playing the Dwapar Yuga play and experience, it allows us to live, as the thinking mind, the conceptual mind, ideas, right? Because that's what the 5 senses experience at the gross level, as if things are static. Valid play for that state of mind. That's what we are here to experience in that sense. If you really look at it, the level of energy is moving so fast that literally from one word being uttered to the next, nothing is the same. Nothing is the same. To even say that we have an idea about something is to hold on to that which at the level of manifest mind cannot be held on to. And that's why, Shakti many times reminds, she said, by the time you think, the thought itself assumes that you know me. I have changed. And that is the freshness of the play. Ever alive, living, right? And dancing as this Tamas, Rajas and Sattva. And that is what determines the expression of existence. Whatever is existing is a unique ratio of this. And again, cycles within cycles. Right? So in that there is a theme, and that theme may show up as Tamas, Rajas and Sattva to be in a certain way. Right? Tamas, again, we can look at Tamas like more like grounding. Like Namah Shivaya, the Nama part of it. Matter, right? It exists. When you have Tamas, I want to also name something. If you've explored this before, many times we kind of label things as good, bad, So if you're very tamasic, it's not like that. It's not like that. Consciousness, tamas has a quality to it. It is actually because of the tamas aspect that we can even experience this grounded state of physicality. Tamas is needed. It's only the level of awareness is how we experience the tamas aspect, either consciously or unconsciously. Consciously, here and here in the physical sense. Unconscious, that same tamas experiences itself like a heaviness. And then the whole experience, habits from that. Because there's a dullness, low level of awareness. So everything has to do with the level of consciousness. Similarly, rajas, right? Rajas is that I'm living in this world. So tamas, that we related to the lower chakras. That's why we say like the root chakra, the Swadishtana, like the Kali, the Durga. That is why when the level of awareness is low, for us to kind of awaken to the conscious aspect, to bring up the conscious aspect, that fierceness is required, that ferociousness is required. That's why in every state of mind is self-fulfilling, self-perpetuating. If it's vibrating at that, the means for it to wake up from that, to fully experience it, lies within itself. That's the beauty of life. Because all there is living. All there is consciousness. Similarly, when we have a combination of, however, and then that rajas is there, we can say rajas in that sense is of this chakra. Now hold all this simply perspectives. The minute we change a perspective a little bit, we start seeing the same things differently. Again, there is no constant one answer, right? So always the invitation to keep the mind open. The heart and this area, the throat, we say, is like that. The combination of all of this, including the Manipura, this area, is like, one may say, the rajas. Rajas is like this passion. I am living. It's creativity, actually. So that's why it's like Lakshmi. Lakshmi says, I am abundant. This living is pure abundance. That which arises from that which I am as Shiva, as nothing, into manifest potentiality. Right? She's pure creativity. She's pure imagination. She is, period. That quality, right? So when Rajas is there, and we are still, let's say, living in the identity of Dwapar Yuga as mind, you'll find that we are very creative in bringing forth things into the world. We'll have thriving businesses. We'll do a lot of relating, right? That's the Rajas aspect. And then the Sattva is the subtler aspect, right? That is deeply connected to the subtle aspects of us, the level of consciousness. So it is in one way that Saraswati, that's why we sing arts, music. So that is the Sattva. So it's the dance of all these three that is constantly cycles within cycles within cycles. So depending on where you're standing and what you're speaking from, you'll really see. So that is one perspective to bring in. That was at the elemental play. But in this video, we'll jump into chakras, manifest consciousness as mind is literally radiating chakras, and the way that these chakras move energy points like whirlpools, when we say, the way that they radiate is how consciousness experiences itself uniquely. So each perceived thing or a form or a person is simply experiencing what the chakras are radiating as. So whether we know it or not, whether we sense it or not, right? And that's where the unconscious and the subconscious is. And the conscious mind then, is living that. All pure experiencing. But before we jump into that, let's do a centering meditation. Right? So finding ourselves a comfortable space. Somewhere where we won't be disturbed, right? In some place where the body already is familiar with, in that sense. Get a backrest if you need to. And taking the attention to the breath for just these few moments. Letting everything be, the thoughts, the world, any situation we might find ourselves in. Just allowing everything to be and coming to that center through the breath in the body. Sensing that no matter what, where we may be at the level of the mind, thinking mind, how beautifully the breath is perfectly breathing the body. The blood is moving. What is needed for the sustenance of this existence is not something my thinking mind is making happen. Allowing the known mind to deeply acknowledge that. When the I, as in the thinking I, was not there in the womb, and perfectly the body became and was born, the heart in its right place, the eyes in the right place, the bones knowing how they had to grow and they had to be strong, the muscles, the cells. This innate, unnameable intelligence that is I am, manifested as that. Isn't that a miracle? That living intelligence that I am is already living and knows and knows. It's kind of allowing a few moments to meet, be that. Staying with the breath that is breathing the body. Steady, sensing the eternal support of Mother Earth under the hips. The connection from her heart, a direct golden cord connecting to the root chakra, Mooladhara, at the base of the spine, perineum point. I am manifest. Placing a loving, gentle attention at the base of the spine. Whether the senses feel anything or not is of no consequence. Just a loving attention. Sensing that even when I move, whatever I do, at the level of the body, she and her lap, Bhudevi, Gaia, is eternally holding. Feeling the legs, the feet, the calves, the shin, the knees, the thighs, the hips. Feeling the gentle area, the belly, lower back, sides of the lower torso. Steady, steady, stable, eternally supported. I am. Sensing just above that on the spine, Swadishtana, sacral chakra, above the root chakra. Just placing light attention. Kind of one may see between the navel and the perineum point, but slightly, not rightly in the middle, slightly lower. But it doesn't matter. Energy again radiates. Loving attention at that part of the lower back. That's it. Being that loving awareness that allows for whatever needs to arise and arrive into it. Bright orange, Swadishtana. Taking the attention now just above the navel, solar plexus point, Manipura. Vibrant yellow. If the root chakra, Muladhara, is I am, manifest. Swadhisthana is I sense, pure sensitivity, I feel. Manipura is that expression, unique expression that radiates at the level of its manifest self, unique I am, like the sun. Now taking the attention on up along the spine to the heart, Anahata, green, abundant, fertile. Sense into the color green, open. My living nature, love, compassion. This whole existence, a living heart. Taking the gentle gaze up from the heart here into the throat chakra. Vishuddhi, open like the sky. Vibrant, bright blue. And above at the Agna point, third eye, deep purple. I am clarity, an unnameable clarity, right here. That sees, senses beyond that which shimmers on the surface. Then the crown chakra, top of the head, open, receiving pure benevolence in the sense 1,000-petaled lotus connected to the soul chakra above the crown chakra. I am living wisdom. Manifest. So sensing this beautiful, centered vertical axis and line from the soul chakra all the way down till Mother Earth's heart. And sense the paradox, that creates the stability of the lower chakras and of the higher chakras within which I vibrate. It's like, if you're a visual person, it's like the visual of a musical instrument with the strings, right? There are 2 points within which this chakras vibrate, like a musical note. And the way the chakras dance, this energy, is the living song that I am experiencing a self as uniquely. Every note, every moment, not the same as the next. I am an unnameable note, song, appearing as a dance of living life, harmony. That which arises and sings a note at any given moment, a perfect note arising for the play of life. Every moment, divine perfection. Tathastu, Tathastu, Tathastu. Keeping our attention here as the open field that allows for sensing. Sensing what is arising in the field of what resonates. So with that, we'll begin with exploring this at the level of chakras, and especially where we are right now. Right, again, cycles within cycles, at the level of ever changing, at the pace that change is happening, that cannot even be fathomed, right? So it is simply at one little cycle that we're exploring this in that sense. So at one level and cycle, one we may say, of course, we are in a new era, in a new yuga. This is an awakened, We have lived as the identity at the level of duality, Dwapar Yuga. Right? That means living as two. And not just two, because there are two ways. One is to live consciously as we are, knowing that, of course, awareness is at that level as if I appear looking from this body as this body experiencing, as if the world is outside. But the inner knowing is that all is one. That which I perceive is not outside of that which I am. But living as the unconscious dual self, Dwapar Yuga, that experience is the forgetting of the oneness. Right? And so living as a separate self, as consciousness, we experience what it means to live as a separate self, as if apart from the life that is, the same one I am. Right? So it's almost like a turning away. And that creates the whole dance of the unconscious Kali Yuga and Dwapar Yuga play. Right? We experience the thing of being the personal doer. That experience comes into place. And we experience that as consciousness. So, awakening now to and as Treta Yuga, at the level of chakras, we'll say right now, is the experience of awakening as the third eye. Right? I am Trinetra. When the third eye opens, we awaken to the already present deeper reality and identity that I am awareness. That timeless, unchanging Shiva Tattva identity that does not change. That was never born. That is not going to die. It is that still seeing, aware knowing, being, within which, when the level of awareness was low, identified as the body and the five senses, gross sensory mind, is identified as the body that moves within me, simply for experience. And that is why the whole experience of being identified at the level of the body is all about movement, ever change. Right? That's why the experience of Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga is all that there's no stability. There's no really place to stand. Everything is in constant movement. You begin and you end, you begin and, because level of awareness is only at that, focused at that level. The minute we are identified at the level of the body, everything fits in, right? Everything is the I am, is what is experienced as the what is and all is. So, if I'm born at a certain time, I'm going to die, then everything starts dancing at the level of that time frame. Linear space-time experience. And then the gross level vibration at the same, everything's simultaneous, right? The minute the separate self-identity arises, that separate sense with the body arises, this thinking I. Again, that's movement. It's never still. Right? It's like two legs. It's like the past bringing it into the future. Past bringing it into the future. Living as memory, as smriti. Never really being, in that sense, present to true reality. And funnily, the truer reality already is that which it's only in through as consciousness that these games can be played even, right? So it's not like it's the truer reality is not missing. It's already there. Everything is consciousness, simply vibrating and playing levels of illusion. That is the play of mind. That's why all that is mind, that is experience, all isness is mind. Anything that can be uttered at any level That's why different levels of illusions. For pure joy of play, that the unnameable, unknowable Shiva, pure consciousness that we really cannot speak about, without any gunas, without any attributes. In order for the love and the joy of experiencing, and that is why when we awaken and stand as the Shiva Tattva, right, all experiences are innately equanimous. And at the level of the unique expression, right, consciousness that which we are is experiencing ourselves as divine preference, divine choice, that is automatically happening. It looks like it's happening on the outside. But the ultimate stand is not of turning away or rejecting or denying, because there is no opposite. That play of duality which has opposites, that the person turns away from, judges, negates, moving towards another, right? That paradox, that is not there. So Treta Yuga, that's why, is awakening as that, right? This is the play of the dual. When we are identified with these two eyes, this allows us to experience. When the third eye is closed, okay, one perspective, there's so much more to that, then we don't sense deeper. Right? We don't sense deeper. It's just these two eyes. What we see is what is our reality, truth. Right? We're playing at that level of the illusion. As the duality dissolves, it is now, while we are still having the experience of duality, fourth density play, right? Fourth dimensional play. The Treta Yuga is the awakening of the single eye, and that's why it's vertical here. I am Trinetra. I am Holy Spirit, Holy Trinity. Yeah, I am that timeless aware space. So what is in awareness, that I am aware as, is that which I am. That is the radical self-responsibility of taking in our world and what appears in our world, in our awareness. And that is timeless, because this doesn't move, so you're not running as the body, you're here. What is the field is my body of being. Right? That's the space of the third eye. So in this perspective, especially for Shivaratri, right, the Mahashivaratri chakra perspective, if we look at the crown chakra and the root chakra to be kind of these two polar opposites that hold, within which this dance is happening, then the 2 points, the 2 chakras that come into place at the level of the Treta Yuga, where we are right now, as the Shiva Shakti play, is Shiva, as we know, the masculine chakra, which is Trinetra, which is the third eye, and the one actually which is less frequently spoken about but which is very key, above the root chakra, which is Swadishtana. So Swadishtana, the name itself says, is the Swa, self, and Adhishtana, the place where I live, my home, the experience of living at the embodied level. So this is a very feminine chakra, water element. So I want us to kind of really visualize this, kind of walk together as we do this. Third eye point is like the projector, right? We know the aware light, one may say. And depending on this aware light, right, if the eyes are closed, then naturally the level of awareness is lower. We play the game of duality just by seeing by the two eyes. And the third eye opens, one may say, right? And if you want to look at it as levels, depending on that light is this powerful seeing. And if that is the projector light, the Swadhisthana element, right, the chakra, is the screen on which the light is projected. So they are both one and the same, as we know. The perceiver and the perceived are one and the same. But they are appearing as if two at the level of chakra. Is so important and can be very significant, especially at this time. And it's been coming up very often. I've shared this in my previous videos, including the one I did with the Ujjayi pranayam as well, where I share about the Samudra Manthan. Right, at this phase where we are in this transformational peak stage, where energetically, we are already in the Treta Yuga, right? Because everything that the known mind experiences is the past. That has at the subtler level already happened. That's why for the known mind, the invitation always is celebrate. Whatever is the highest possibility you can sense, the known mind wouldn't even be able to sense it if it wasn't already done at the subtlest level. But because we are so identified natural phenomena as the masculine, right, that because we are not able to sense and we don't know that subtle aspects of us, the subtle body, the causal body, right, because that's not tangible, right, in that sense. And we are dancing at the gross senses, which is only playing at the level of, if I see it, it's there, kind of, if I show me that kind of play, right? So this is very key to keep in mind. That's why it's only because we've awakened. So this has already happened. And of course, all is happening. So at the Trinetra point, right, we are not aware. So as this light starts to get aware, shines its light, look at it like it's shining its light on the Swadhisthana. Swadhisthana is our home space. Well, because the Swadhisthana is I sense. We speak of mind, especially in the non-dual field, right? That's the Vedantic viewpoint as awareness. But the Tantric viewpoint in that does not leave out that feminine embodied, felt, energetic aspect of manifest mind. Because awareness and that sensation and experience energy is one and the same. Two sides again of the same. They are the two tattvas. Shiva tattva, like Purusha and Prakriti. Let me say, right? So that is why when many a times in the non-dual world when we just speak about awareness, then this aspect is not addressed. So as the mind gets aware and we wake up to our non-dual self, that's the process of awakening, right? That's why do we find it? So much is coming up. It's because of this. When the light that awakens shines a light on all the conditions that are there in the Swadhisthana, this water element gets colored. Right? One way to look at it as waters, right? Age of Aquarius. That which is living, divine living as sacred waters is pure, clear. It's not muddied. But the coloring of that is what determines the experience. So it's part of the play. Root chakra, at one cycle, if you really look at it, from the first year till about the 7 years, our root chakra, right, that gets established. Right, in the sense that if we are in an environment that is safe, secure, supported, that root chakra essence, it's a lived essence, right, that the known mind later doesn't even realize. It's within, it's a felt essence. We feel safe. We feel supported as life. And that naturally determines how we are going to relate with life itself and the others, right? If that is not stable in the first 7 years for a child, then naturally everything is born from that. That is primary. That's why I think, even in the Jesuits, right, they say that give us a child for the first 7 years and we will tell you the person that it's going to become. All phenomena. It's all phenomena. So key, that's why. But if you look at the Swadhisthana, right, so the child is dependent on the adult, right, doing all of that. The second part is the Swadhisthana. That second part is when we look at as from 7 years to about 15 or 16, 14, 15, 16, that age gap. That is when the child now has taken in the stability, wherever that is, right? And it's deeply connected to the immediate parent, the mother and the father, and the living environment of the home. But now is experiencing being out in the world from 17 to 14, 15, as you see. That is happening. So that age is really critical, because that is when the waters are getting conditioned with the world that it is living in. It is taking in all the definitions of the world, right? We take in everything, the environment that we have grown up in. This is when we get conditioned with all the thought, this is good, this is bad, this is wrong, this is right. It's all at the subtler level that's already happening. We are like a sponge. These two phases, we are like a sponge, right? And that's why we see that when we come into our adolescent stage, when energy comes into the adolescent stage, right? Natural phenomena, you sense the teenagers coming into their own, right? That's the individuated personality that we call about, all part of the play, right? By then, it's like the energy is coming into, I know what I am, right? Colored by all of this conditions, ready to play into life, right? As life, in that sense. So all of this play is already happening. But I want to name what is happening now at the Swadhisthana level, right? And I want to share a mythological story about this, which is very relevant. Many years ago, there was this sage and his wife who really wanted to have a child and experience the joy of having a child. So they prayed, and they finally received the boon that they would have a child. But it came with one caveat, and that was that the child would only live till about 16 years old. They named this child Markandeya. And Markandeya was a deep Shiva Bhakt. For the 16 years of his life, he was absolutely in love with Shiva. To him, everything was Shiva. So when at the age of 16, when Yama, that is death, was to come and call upon him, said he was there hugging the Shivalinga. Right? Because for him, that is all there was. And when Yama came, and we have this symbolic, this thing of Yama with a noose, right? Time to go, and put the noose around Markandeya. Markandeya, who was hugging the Linga, Shivalinga, it fell not only on Markandeya, it fell on Shivalinga as well. That means on consciousness itself, Shiva itself. And when Yama tightened the noose to kind of say, let's go to death, it was almost like Yama telling Shiva, consciousness, that there is death for you, which is not a possibility. So naturally Shiva rose, right? And the whole play beyond that, right? Put Yama in his right place and things. And these are mythological stories, but pointing to deep metaphysical truths, right? Through stories. Basically, Markandeya is the embodiment, symbolic of the Swadhisthana Chakra, one may say. Because Swadhisthana Chakra's activation at this one level is from this age. Right? From root chakra at that point, and then from 7 till about 16. So Markandeya then would not experience coming into that aspect as an individuated this thing. So when this level, when this is a very critical age for children, and that is why, in India, our old culture, before the schooling system that has come into place right now, gurukuls were there. Right? After the child came to a certain age, the child was sent to a gurukul. where the guru was that consciousness and aware true self teacher, right? And could sense, because each child is like this potent seed, right? It's come with its gunas. That is the loving, and that when it flows as the loving, it is going to thrive. Everything is within it, right? So that was sensed, and so that was brought in. But the core thing about the Gurukul teaching was always that to never forget what your true identity is amidst whatever you might be experiencing yourself as. So there's no hierarchy. There's no hierarchy. All is equanimous. Beyond appearance. And the appearance is that allows us to play, to relate, to be those unique pieces of a puzzle. Right? So that was known. So Gurukul was that. That's why that time frame they were in the Gurukul. See, they deeply, so it began with, let's say, meditation, knowing the truth of that which I am, even that which my senses cannot perceive, and relating and sensing into that. And then each child blossoming, right? Swadhisthana phase. And then they're ready to go into the world. And then when they step into the world, what is the world that they are creating? What identity are they creating from? Living from. That is this thing. This is the basis of Sanatana Dharma. Right? The eternal law. It's not a religion. In Hinduism, really, it's not a religion. It got named later as the Hinduism. But Sanatana Dharma is the eternal law. The unnameable law. That living itself is Dharma. Law. Right? That's why we have so many gods at the manifest level. Right? Shakti dances, there's all these deities and everything, because you can have it, or nature can be your god, or whatever. That is pure liberation. Right? There's no factory like this is the way to be. That does not exist in that sense. So just to bring it back to the importance of the Swadhisthana Chakra, that otherwise we do not place at. So all the conditions that have been taken on by this Swadhisthana is what, as we come into our adulthood, we are living through the Manipura. And that, what the self is how it experiences its reality. There is no separate reality that is out there. There's no world in that sense out there. It is experienced as reality, and out there world, of course, valid play for the Dwapar Yuga. There's a deep connection between the seeing and the being at the level of the manifest self. And that's the dance between these two chakras, Swadhisthana and Agna. Right? So one other way that I really want to bring it back to, if you look at it, the elemental stage, that's why this is the subtle body, right? It's the water and the Agni, fire. appearing as two opposites, right? When they're unconscious, that's why this fire can, literally dry out the water, the feminine aspect. And then life is felt as this struggle. When the water is unconscious and overwhelming, moving as this emotion, unconscious emotion, then she can douse out the level of awareness, the Agni, lower level. See, it's all play. The feminine and the masculine, one and the same, right? But when they are conscious and balanced, divine feminine and divine masculine at this level, oh man, that play is the conscious play of Treta Yuga. Embodied divinity. I don't need to leave my body. I do not need to leave the delicious experiences of my manifest physical self. Devis as devas, right? I am aware, and that is creating at a different level a world. Right? So this is it. One way to, that's why I look at it, is that she is the rasa. Right? We say the juice of life, the feminine waters, holy grail, sacred, the liquid. Right? That's why the womb is like the cup that holds, that the feminine knows, that's the wisdom she holds. When the waters of her womb are clear, right, the Swadishtana is clear, the light, so this is the rasa, that's the feminine, she's always the source. She births the masculine, the expression is ojas, radiance. It's always like that, it's depending on the feminine aspect, the subtle, right? The subconscious, the unconscious. The subconscious is what appears at the conscious level. That is the flow of life when it moves from the unmanifest to the manifest. So this is then the seeing of the third eye. That is why the mother, the divine feminine, at the manifest mind, that's where we see she's the feminine, one perspective, right? That to be seen. So this point, coming back to, why is this so important to even kind of sense into this, right, at the level? Because as we awaken to our own self, why is it hard, even though we've had experiences of awakening and we've sensed, my God, there's no separation, I'm awareness, this is simply play, then to forget, right? Because that process is still happening at the level of transformation. And what happens at that time is the minute, if the light of the eye awareness, right, awakens, it shines a light on the screen. And then these conditions that are held in this water light up. And all that for us seems like coming on the surface. Why? Because the light is brighter. Everything has to do with awareness, the level of awareness. The lens, another perspective, that's a very different ways to see this, right? The lens that is colored has now cleared. The minute that clears, the minute our consciousness has moved to the next level of vibration, it cannot hold within it anything that is of a lower vibration or a denser vibration. That play for us is over. It has to come on the surface, so it comes up. That is nature, it floats up. And that is what we see, whether it is our emotions of duality that are coming up within our ways of being and seeing and doing that we see, or whether we see it in the world, one and the same. Simply reflections of each other, right? So that comes up. That is the Samudra Manthanam. Only Shiva, right? So that's why be aware. Every moment, just be aware, present here now, to sense what is coming up. without jumping into making meaning, right? That's the lifestyle, literally, that you have to live. So when this comes up, only Shiva, that is the clarity, the third eye, that can see what is coming up as the play of this duality, of this that is being played by the mind of good, bad, right, wrong, and hold that. And that is why to awaken as the third eye is to awaken as awareness, as the timeless space, still space, that is my nature. Be still and know I am. That is the meaning of Sthira, Sukham, Asanam. Like that space, that is neutrality. That is neutrality. It's being neutral, and that is why we also share this as unconditional love. Because when this and this come into balance, Swadhisthana and the Theta, naturally we find ourselves coming into balance, all allowing. We see all of life is an unnameable goodness and rightness. That is the one consciousness that is playing. Uniquely loving. Every state of mind is its own dance and flavor of tasting the love that it is. Shiva is experiencing self as Shakti. There's no difference. As mind, as these ways of, as love, as desire, as experience, as choice, as play. Right, so this comes into balance. Really, our heart opens. So we say love is the answer. That means we allow things to be wherever they are. And when we are that allowing, because we are the timeless space, where is it living? Where is awareness? In that spaceless space of I am. So when we are present now, that becomes our home, right? Here, now. We're not anymore lost to the illusion unconsciously of a future and a past. We can see the thinking mind is the conditioning mind, conditioned mind. That's the lens. We can play in it if we want to, right? From the conscious stance. Then it's pure, a conscious play. Otherwise, it's an unconscious play. When we are here, then, where is life? Right here. What arises in my awareness? Then it's pure response. And that response arises from presence. Here.
Shiva.